What is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade basketball analysis coming to y'all with the playoff predictions for the series of the Hawks versus the Philadelphia Sixers as they both was able to wrap up their series. Um, Obviously, the Wizards didn't have enough. That's why they was the eighth seed, and Tobias stepped up. Rui had a good game for his standards. Russ and Bill did the best they could, but here we are. We got the next series. Trae Young, I did pick them to beat the Knicks, and they was able to get that done. And I did pick the Sixers beating the Wizards. Now they meet. This is a good time for the Hawks to get an easy couple games because Joel Embiid will not be there possibly, and even if he is, you got bangers like Collins, Clint Capella that's going to come and come hard at him, and it's going to make that knee and that back a little sore every night because Clint Capella was the best rebounder basically this season, and John Collins can bang average 20 and 10 before. Plus, you got to set a lot of screens, which means people are going to be coming at you, bumping into you, and getting in you. And Joel Embiid will have to stay healthy. I don't see them being able to beat a fully healthy Hawks team like they did with the Wizards without Joel Embiid. The Hawks just have too much talent, too much scoring, and they also have an inside presence, a well-balanced team. The problem is just defensively. They have lapses, and the Knicks, they had a philosophy of how to defend them because they didn't have enough spacing, didn't have enough shooting. That's not the case with Philly. Tobias Harris can knock down threes. Danny Green can kill you from three. Korkmaz, who was huge in this series against the Wizards this last game, knocking down corner and spot up threes, can hit you real hard. Don't forget about Seth Curry, one of the best three-point shooters in the league the last couple of years. He can get hot. He can even put that ball on the floor and hit some layups and hit some floaters and hit some jumpers off the dribble. So you have to watch out for that. You can also say that about Tobias Harris. You can close out a little too hard. He can hit the mid-range. He can hit the floater. He can dump it off. He can lob it to Dwight Howard and Embiid and pick you apart. But I do feel like this Hawks team is confident. They felt like they can beat the Knicks. They was able to finish it faster than anybody would have thought. Nobody thought the Hawks would finish it this early, this fast, in blowout fashion the last couple games. It just shows you that they really are healthy at the right time, and they really are a dangerous team. I just feel like the biggest problem with the Hawks is the mistakes that they make, and we see it with the Grizzlies against the Jazz, where they're rotating too hard, or they're a little lazy, or a little lackadaisical because they don't have the attention to the detail. And that's something that a veteran team like Philly would punish them on, making the extra pass, killing them when they close out too hard, killing them if they don't rotate or they give up for being lazy and just splash in the three. We do have to see what Embiid's going to do. He's going against high-level centers in this series compared to what he went against in Washington, and they was able to score on him, and they was able to, get rebounds, especially when he went down. And the Hawks will do the same, if not even better than what the Wizards did. And the Hawks do have more weapons. They have more consistent perimeter shooters than what the Wizards had. So if you help or double team, you have the Hunters, the Reddishes, and the Bogdanovich and the Herders, and even Trae Young. If you leave him open, he can splash three. So the Sixers are going to have to communicate well and pay attention to what's going on because they can get lit up in quarters and in spurts where the Hawks can get a cushion or get a lead and just rely on Trae Young pick and roll or rely on his ability to play make and score whenever he wants to because he's one of the better scorers the last 2 years in the league, especially at the guard position. And they can put Philly in some tough spots if Philly don't come to play and Philly don't knock down their shots. Guys like Maxey and Korkmaz and even Dwight Howard and others that come off their bench are going to be crucial in this series because they're going to have to be able to defend, but they're also going to have to be able to produce multiple baskets because when these starters go to the bench, they're going to be paying 15 to 25 minutes. That's a lot of minutes in the playoffs when it's all close and very half courtish, especially when these teams can be efficient offensively and be disruptive defensively. I think Matisse Thybulle will be an important part because you have to put somebody on Trey. Danny Green has been known as a solid defender. Not the same defender that he used to be, but he's still solid. But can he guard Trae Young? Can he make it tough? They can put size and athleticism on Trae Young and trap him hard, and they can also double him very hard because they have those rangy, fast, mobile um, defenders that they can throw at him. Something that they couldn't do in New York, but they can do with Philly. I think that that's something that they can do to slow him down and contain him a little bit, so that way he's not just doing whatever he wants to do and just picking and choosing what he wants to do to the defense. And that's a luxury for a team like Philly to be able to have that type of disposal, even on their bench, to have those type of guys that can come off and really contribute on both ends of the court. The biggest drawback will be Matisse Thybulle didn't shoot the ball well from three. And if he's going to be on the court, the Hawks will shrink the court and force him to shoot. He will have to make them. We don't know if he can do that yet because he hasn't been able to do it consistently throughout his career yet. But that's going to be the drawback if they do want to play Thybulle more to try to contain Trae Young one-on-one. And if they do, they can always throw Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons struggles with a bursty, quick point guard that's shifty too. And Trae Young is one of those guys that can do that. And remember, they will try to switch as much as they can to get Trae Young the matchup that he wants as an offensive player. And it's going to be important for Embiid to stay healthy to clog up that paint or be able to show a little bit so Trae Young don't get the floaters at will like he did against New York. Bogdanovich and guys like Reddish is going to be huge for this series because they have the ability to hit threes and also hit mid ranges at a decent percentage off the dribble, or if somebody rotates too hard and gives them the ability to run them off the 3-point line and knock down the shot. They are going to be huge when Trae Young gets double teamed or trapped. They're going to have to be able to make shots off the dribble, spot up shots, and also contested shots from time to time, which they're capable of doing. They will just have to do it against the Sixers just because they can stay with these guys and they can run them off the 3-point line, and it will force them to make quick decisions in offense. So it's going to be important to see how they cover Embiid because Embiid has basically been unstoppable the entire series of Washington when he was healthy, but entire regular season when he was healthy. The problem is Embiid is usually never healthy, even in the playoffs and even in the regular season. So we don't really know what type of Embiid we're going to see. We don't know how many games he's going to play, but the Hawks have to take advantage of it now. They know he's weak. They know that knee affects your lateral quickness. It impacts your durability, how many hits and how many blows you can take when trying to contest and rebound and box out. And the Hawks have to be aggressive. They have to be looking to score. They have to mix it up, not just rely on contested threes all the time. They're going to have to really try to balance out their offense with a healthy diet of hitting all over the court on the offensive end. Defensively, they just got to be smarter. They got to take less gambles and stay home on their man and communicate and try to make sure Embiid just can't do whatever he wants to when he's on the court. If Embiid is not on the court, I like the Hawks being able to stay with a team like the Sixers. I feel like they guys can score, they can do things, but a lot of it they need switches, they need certain matchups to really flourish as scorers. And we know that Ben Simmons will kill you in transition. He's going to get that rebound and he's going to be finding the shooters, finding the cutters, and even lob it to the bigs that run. And his assists and his management of how he picks his spots when the score is going to be important because they're going to need Ben Simmons to produce. He's going to be in situations where he's going to be forced to score from time to time, and he has to be willing to take that as a challenge and score when needed. And he did that against the Wizards. He's also going to have to do that against the Hawks, especially if Embiid gets injured or can't play every game. They're going to need Ben Simmons to play like the all-star, all-NBA player that he's been able to be the last couple seasons, even as a defender. He's going to have to stay with the Hurters. He's going to have to stay with the Reddishes and obviously the Bogdanovich and the Trae Youngs to really force them to let other guys beat them besides Trae Young and force them and make them do difficult shots and live with the results by rebounding and closing out the possession and really trying to run when they can. So I still think the Sixers should win it, But I think the Hawks have shown that they're better than what we thought. They had a lot of changes in the lineups. They had a lot of injuries and a lot of guys in and out this entire year. But when they're together, when they're playing, they show that they can score with the best of any team in the league. The problem is defending. The problem is trying to become a elite team on that end. With Naaman McMillan, they got better, but they never became dangerous or scary. The Sixers can lock you up. The Sixers can get stops, and the Sixers can close games. Doc Rivers know how to run things. He know how to get guys open. They have a lot of guys that can shoot. They have two all-stars that can, make decisions. And they have a guy like Tobias Harris who's having his best season again under Doc Rivers and having a great postseason so far with mixing his bag up, whether he's shooting from three, pulling up from three, or even scoring off the isolations or post-ups. That's going to be essential and important for the Sixers to win this series against a tough Atlanta Hawks team. Now we just have to see what happens in the series. I got the Sixers winning in 6, especially if Joel Embiid can be healthy from game 1 and be the Joel Embiid that we have seen so far. If Joel Embiid can't stay healthy, the Sixers might have to lose this series. If he can stay healthy for majority of the series, I say 85% of it, they can win in 6. If he stays healthy 65, 75%, Sixers might win in 7. But if he misses more than that, or been coming in and play a game and can't play the rest of the game, the Hawks can definitely steal and win this series and have a chance in their first playoff appearance to go to the Eastern Conference Finals with Trae Young as the number one option and their best player. That's something that sounded crazy when he got drafted in college, but it's something that actually could happen in today's game, and it's reality for the Hawks fans. We'll just have to see who wins it. We'll have to see how it plays out. Other than that, this is just my analysis on the situation and how I have seen both teams play throughout the season and how they played in their last matchup and how they should play against each other. Let me know what you like, what you dislike, what you enjoy, what you agree or disagree with, who I slept on, who I overrated, and let me know who you think is going to win, how they're going to win, or even how many games they will win in this series. Quinn Wade, Basketball Analysis signing out, and I'll be back with playoff reactions later tonight.